morning, students. So today we are going to discuss about the types of sampling. In last class you have already seen the characteristics of sampling, then errors of sampling, target population, and so on. So in today's class we will be seeing the types of sampling or sampling designs. So in introduction you already know what is sampling. It is nothing but the group of population that you are selecting for your research purpose, that is known as sample, and total on the process of selecting you are saying it as sampling process. Then we will see the steps of sampling design. So in sampling design, it first comes the population, then you will decide a sampling frame, then determine sampling process. This sampling process is mainly divided into two: probability sampling and non-probability sampling. It also has some subtypes. Then this leads to determine appropriate sampling size, execute sampling design. So with these steps you are going to select your population, then you are giving it a frame, that is you are putting it under an heading. Then under certain types of sampling you are going to divide your target into certain groups, and you are going to proceed your sampling steps. Then you are going to determine your sampling sizes, how much you are going to take your samples for the research study. Then you are going to execute it with a particular sampling design. These are the steps in your sampling design. Then we will see the types. So there are mainly two types: probability samples and non-probability samples. So this sampling, probability samples and non-probability samples, each is divided into 5 subtypes. Probability samples are divided into simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, cluster random sampling, systematic random sampling, multi-stage sampling. Then non-probability sampling is divided into convenience sampling, quota sampling, purposive sampling, self-selection sampling, and snowball sampling. So here is the easiest way to determine, or you can say to learn, this sampling types. So for probability sampling, the abbreviated term is SSCSM. So this is Soft Skill Computer Sakshatra Mission. So this is the, you can say, easiest way to learn, in which S stands for simple, then another S stands for stratified, C stands for cluster, S stands for systematic, and M stands for multi-stage. Then same as non-probability sampling, it is CQPSS, that is Continuous Quality Process Software and Systems, and this stands for C convenience, Q quota, P purposive, S self-selection, and S snowball. So this is some abbreviated terms which will help you to learn your terms. You can say it will help you to learn your steps properly. Then we will see about the probability sampling. So let's see the introduction in probability sampling. This probability sampling is defined as a sampling technique in which the researcher chooses sample from a larger population using a method based on the theory of probability. For a participant to be considered as a probability sample, she must be selected using a random selection. So here the probability term means random selection, and to divide your population into a probability sample, it is very necessary that you are selecting your sample with random selection technique. So in this probability samples, I have already told you there are 5 types. In that, the first one is simple random sampling. Now let's see. All subsets of the frame are given an equal probability, then random numbers generated. So the word random means you are not defining any boundaries, you are just going to pick up randomly on whatever they are looking, or whatever is the characteristic, just you are going to pick up your sample, that is simple random. So let's see the advantages and disadvantages of simple random sampling. So advantages are minimal knowledge of population needed. So there is not so much knowledge to be acquired for having random sampling. Then easy to analyze data. You can easily analyze because you are randomly taking your samples. Then disadvantage, low frequency of use. You cannot use your samples for great varieties. It has low frequency. Does not use researchers' expertise. You are not going to take much, you can say, you can discuss with your researchers for your sample. You're not going to discuss that with your experts. Then larger list of random error. So since your samples are randomly taken, so it may cause some errors in your sampling techniques. Then we will go for the next, stratified random sampling. So in stratified random sampling, mainly we are dividing the peoples in different groups on their appearance, or you can say on their characteristics. That is called strata. The groups you are dividing is called strata, and since this sampling technique is known as stratified random sampling. Population is divided into 2 or more groups called strata. Subsamples are randomly selected from each strata. So after dividing, you are going to collect it on your requirement basis. This is stratified random sampling. Then advantages of stratified random sampling: assures representation of all groups in sample population. So one thing is assured that you are going to mention these groups in your presentation. Then characteristics of each stratum can be estimated and comparisons made. So when you are dividing into group, you are making sure that each has the same characteristics when they are divided into different groups. Disadvantages: require accurate information on populations of each strata. So you should have accurate information about your groups. Then stratified list costly to prepare. So when you are going to prepare it, it may cost little more cost. Then cluster sampling. Cluster is nothing but making group, or you can making circles for that samples, making it a small boundary. These are called clusters. The cluster sampling, the population is divided into subgroups called clusters, like families. A simple random sample is taken from each cluster. So when you are dividing into group, you can randomly pick your samples from those clusters. The advantage can estimate characteristics of both cluster and population. When you are dividing into cluster, you can easily recognize their characteristics. Disadvantages are the cost to reach an element to sample is very high, so it may cost little more from other sampling techniques. Then each stage in cluster sampling introduces sampling error. The more stages there are, the more error there tends to be. So whenever you are moving it stage by stage, this cluster sampling may lead to some errors. Then we will go for systematic random sampling. This is in systematic random sampling, you are selecting your samples randomly but in a systematic way. That is, you can say there is some unique or some similarity in your way of selection. You can see in the diagram, each sample is selected on the odd number, that is on the counting of 2, that is 1, 2 and third is selected, then 4, 5 and 6 is selected, then 7, 8 and 9 selected. So you are selecting it on the odd number, that is third counting you are going to select your sample. So this is the systematic way of selecting your sample. Let's see systematic random sampling. Orders all unit in the sampling frame, then the event number on the list is selected. So you are selecting the every ninth number on the list is selected and sampling interval. So this is your systematic random sampling technique. Then advantages are moderate cost, moderate usage, so it is not so costly. Simple to draw a sample, it is very easy to select your samples and easy to verify. You can easily cross check your samples. Then disadvantage, periodic ordering required. So periodic ordering is needed, that is you can only select it on the third one, that is 10th number. Then we will go for the multi-stage sampling, that is you are moving from ascending to descending in a way to make your samples convenient. Carried out in stages using smaller and smaller sampling units at each stages. So you are moving from ascending to descending, that is you are moving from small to larger. So this is what called multi-stage. First it may be 2, then you will go for 4, then you will go for 8. So this is called multi-stage sampling, which helps you to find easily to calculate your research statistics. Advantage are more accurate and more effective. So it helps you to easily make your statistics accurate. Then disadvantage are it costs more than other samples. In each stage in sampling introduces sample errors. The more stages there are, the more error there tend to be. So as the stage increases one by one, so it may cause some errors for the researcher. Then we will go for the second method of sampling, that is non-probability samples. So non-probability samples is a sampling method in which not all members of the population have an equal chance of participating. So here the word non-probability means you don't have random selection methods, you are having some criteria for your samples where all the members of your sample does not get equal chance for the participation. So in this there are 5 types which you have already seen, that is convenience, quota, purposive, self-selection and snowball. So first we are going to see the convenience sampling. So here the word convenience sampling means convenient, what is under your reach or what is easy for you to have selection. So this is what convenience sampling is. Introduction. Convenience sampling involves choosing respondents at the convenience of the researcher, as I told, which is not difficult for you and easy for you to select, that is convenience sampling. Advantage is very low cost, extensively used or understood, so it is not very costly and very easily to be used. Disadvantage, variability and bias cannot be measured or controlled. So you cannot control the bias and variability in your sampling. Then project data beyond sample not justified. So you cannot go beyond your samples. Then restriction of generalization. So there is something restricted in your generalization of sample selection. You can see in the diagram how the word convenient means what is not in your reach. Then quota sampling. Quota sampling is nothing but you are dividing your samples under the category that you are going to have particular samples only. For example, you can take the patients with diabetic disease, patient with hypertensive disease, patient with kidney disease. So these are the persons under quota, persons under certain characteristics. The population are first segmented into mutually exclusive subgroups just as in stratified samples. So you are dividing the population into different groups according to their characteristics that are called quota. Advantages are used when researcher budget is limited. So when you have limited budget and you want to make it little cost free, so that this can be used. Very extensively used and understood, so it is used by the most of the researchers because it is easily understood. Then no need for list of population elements. You don't need to make the list of the population. You can just divide the peoples under those headings, or you can see under those characteristics. Then disadvantages are variability and bias. Variability and bias will be there in your samples. Then time consuming, it takes little time. Then projected data beyond sample not justified. You cannot go beyond your samples that you are selecting for your quota sampling. Then purposive sampling or judgmental sampling. So purposive means you are going to have particular selection in your samples. You can take for example, whenever you are going for shopping, the whichever cloth you like, you are going to select buy the same cloth, not the other. That means you like that cloth and that is your purpose that you are going to buy. The like is your purpose. So whenever we don't like anything, we don't buy such things. So that is called purposing. So likewise same in research, you have any criteria, you have any characteristics for selection of your sample and you go for those samples only. That is what purposive and judgmental means. So researcher employs his or own expert judgment about. So you are having own judgments and your own expert advice for the selection of the sample. Then advantages, there is assurance of quality response. That is since under expert advice you are selecting your sample, so there is quality assurance. Meet the specific objectives. So whatever objectives you have made for your samples, they meet those specific objectives. Then disadvantage, bias selection of sample may occur. So on selecting your samples, there may be bias. That means since you are going for some particular judgmental selection, so it may cause bias differences in sample selection. Then time consuming process, it takes little time because you don't get your particular samples that you are searching for. Then slow ball sampling. In slow ball sampling, we are taking one lead and then other are divided under those according to their own choice. Then in snowball sampling, we will see the researcher starts with a key person and introduce the next one to become a chain. So in this one we are taking out from the sample and rest we are giving choice to select by their own way. So advantages, low cost, useful in specific circumstances and for locating rare populations. So it is not so costly and helps people to locate in easily or convenient for the researcher to perform research. Then disadvantage, non-independent, does not depend on anyone. Then projecting data beyond sample not justified. You cannot go beyond your samples to have research process. Then cell selection sampling means voluntarily the population gets selected for the research purpose, that is cell selection. So in cell selection, it occurs when you allow each case casually individuals to identify their desire to take part in the research. That, as I told, voluntarily the samples will be getting selected for your research purpose. Advantages are more accurate, useful in a specific circumstances to serve the purpose. So you can, it is more accurate result and useful in specific circumstances to serve the purpose. Then disadvantage, most costly due to advertising. So since you are using some techniques like advertising, so it can cost higher than the other sampling times. Then mass are left, so some things are left behind which is not of use. So in today's class we have seen the sampling types, that is two types, probability sampling and non-probability sampling. In probability sampling, you have seen simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, cluster sampling, systematic random sampling, multi-stage sampling. Then in non-probability sampling, you have seen convenience sampling, quota sampling, purposive sampling, self-selection sampling and snowball sampling. That's all for the today's class. Thank you to one and all.